And sure enough, by the end of the 19th century, the urban population has increased 87 times over. In Chicago alone, in just 10 years, they built 50 steel frame buildings. And in 20 years, its population more than doubles to almost 1.7 million. American cities are exploding. But for many, living in the shadow of these new towers will prove even harder than building them. In America in 1890, crime and poverty are rife on the streets. But these mavericks are about to make a difference. Gangsters, murderers, thieves, and fear are on the streets. New tabloid newspapers splash crime all over the front pages. In Chicago, you can rent a gun by the hour. In the Sears catalog, you can buy one for $12. In New York, a policeman finds a list on a murdered gangster. His rate card. Punches, $2. Nose and jaw broke, $10. Ear chewed off, $15. The big job, $100 and up.
Any questions?
But crime isn't the only problem plaguing urban streets. In many cities, slums are reaching epidemic proportions. Multiple families crammed into one small room. Human waste pours into the streets, alleys, and open courtyards.
People were crowded in. There were windowless tenements. Sometimes you had no internal plumbing, just privies in the basement, in the backyard. And the Lower East Side during these years was the single most crowded place in the entire world.
Jacob Riis, Danish immigrant, crime reporter, photographer. He gets leads for stories from Chief Inspector Burns. Now, he's about to expose the hell of tenements. Jacob Riis knows what it's like to be poor. 15 years ago, he lost his job in a stock market crash. It's midnight, but Riis has a new technology that will change the public perception of poverty forever. An explosive powder that produces enough light to photograph in the dark. This is one of the first ever photographs of slum life. It shocks millions.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacob A. Riis, and this is how the other half live and die in New York City.
Magazines refuse to print his work, so Riis puts on his own magic lantern shows. His mission, to show the nation's wealthy something they've never seen before, filth and desperation on their doorstep.
In this block, 9 dead were carried out this year alone. 5 in baby coffins.
What he demonstrated was that there is another reality, that all that prosperity didn't trickle down all the way to the bottom, and there was some deplorable living conditions, and this country was not just forced to confront those conditions, but then was moved to begin to deal with them.
Riis publishes his pictures in a book called How the Other Half Lives. It will sell more than 28 million copies. Within 2 decades, the worst of New York's slums are torn down. Tenements sell at auction for as little as $1. Riis's campaigning forces all New York schools to build playgrounds and landlords to install toilets inside apartments, not outside. It is the first step in tackling the slums. But as cities keep on growing, an even bigger challenge remains. In New York alone, nearly 40,000 die in 1 year from diseases. because of this filth. 1895. Our major cities are drowning in filth. 120,000 horses dump 500,000 pounds of manure into the New York streets every day. Wagons are blocked by 3-foot-high piles of human and animal waste. Into this world steps a man on a white horse, Colonel George Waring. Civil War veteran, legendary sewer engineer, apostle of cleanliness. He's the head of New York's sanitation department.
The city stinks with the emanations of putrefying organic matter. Black rottenness is seen and smelled on every hand. The crowded streets are a veritable hell.
Waring recruits an army of 2,000 sanitation workers in white uniforms. Some dismiss him as a crank. They call his men white ducks, but Waring means business. Tons of garbage, normally dumped into the river, is recycled. Ash becomes landfill on Rikers Island. Organic waste boiled into oil and grease. Waring is America's first eco-warrior. His men clean 433 miles of street. Death rates decline, water quality improves. Waring saves the lives of thousands. The measures spread across America. Just 16 years after Colonel Waring, half of all cities have waste collection. And it is not just waste. By 1907, every large city in the nation has sewers. By 1909, there are 42,040 miles of sewers in America. The battle against filth, crime, and poverty has begun.